Manchester United add rookie teenager to confirmed FA Cup semi-final squad amid injury woes. Man United seem to have suffered more injury setbacks after another youngster was added to their travelling squad. Louis Jackson has been promoted to the Manchester United squad for their FA Cup semi-final against Coventry City. Defender Jackson, 18, started in the FA Youth Cup final win over Nottingham Forest 2 years ago and has been drafted into the senior squad amid more possible injury issues. Willy Kambwala, Sofyan Amrabat and Mason Mount were absent when United boarded their train to London at Stockport Station. The apparent absence of Kambwala could mean Casemiro has to drop back to play at centre-half, where he started against Burnley in the League Cup fourth round last season. Harry Maguire is United's only fit senior centre-half and has travelled after returning to training on Friday. McTominay and Antony are also available again after injury. United manager Erik ten Hag suggested there were injury issues without specifying which players were struggling at his pre-match press conference on Friday. "We have some problems. Harry, okay against Bournemouth, he struggled. He had a small injury and he didn't train this week so far, but now he is back on the pitch. We expect him today to be back in team training and he will be available, I hope, for Sunday." Teenagers Jackson, Harry Amas, Habib Ogunai and Ethan Wheatley are all set to be named the 20-man matchday squad at Wembley. None of the academy players have made their debut for the first team. Defenders Rafael Varane, muscular, Victor Lindelof, hamstring, Lisandro Martinez, calf, Johnny Evans, knock, Luke Shaw, hamstring, and Tyrell Malacia, knee, are still out. United Football Board member Sir Dave Brailsford and Deputy Football Director Andy O'Boyle also travelled with the squad on Saturday afternoon. Confirmed United squad versus Coventry: Onana, Heaton, Bayindir, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Jackson, Ogunai, Amas, Casemiro, Mainoo, Eriksen, McTominay, Fernandes, Garnacho, Antony, Rashford, Hojlund, Wheatley, Forson, Ahmad. Manchester United have a former trialist to stop vs Coventry City in FA Cup semi-final. Man United take on Coventry City in their FA Cup semi-final at Wembley today, and here are 5 things to look out for. Manchester United have one last opportunity to win some silverware this season, but the FA Cup semi-final against Coventry City has even more hanging on it. Under pressure, Erik ten Hag can't escape questions about his future. The Dutchman's position is under scrutiny after a difficult campaign. He has some big decisions to make. The Manchester Evening News revealed on Saturday that youngster Louis Jackson has been promoted to the squad amid more potential injury issues and that Willy Kambwala, Sofyan Amrabat and Mason Mount were absent when United boarded their train to London at Stockport Station. But there are issues all over the park for ten Hag to have to solve. Here we take a look at 5 things that could be pivotal at Wembley. Change in attack? Antony did not travel to Bournemouth, so we will never know if Erik ten Hag would have dropped Marcus Rashford for the Brazilian. Rashford recovered from a knock against Liverpool last week, while Antony has resumed training this week after failing to come through last Friday's session. With United depleted in defence and light in attack, there can be little change to the front 6. Antony and Rashford could both be accommodated if ten Hag is inclined to extend Alejandro Garnacho's discipline to a demotion. Does Garnacho start? Rashford was cut from the travelling squad to Newport County, Cristiano Ronaldo did not get on the train to London and Jadon Sancho did not get back into the main building at Carrington after they all crossed ten Hag. He ought to be cross with Garnacho's passive-aggressive use of social media last week. Garnacho has been dealt with and trained this week. He is also the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year elect. But he is also a 19-year-old who cannot be allowed to get above his station. Whatever call ten Hag makes, it would be understandable. One-time trialist offers a big challenge. There was nothing remotely surprising about Willy Kambwala excelling against Liverpool and flagging against Bournemouth. Dominic Solanke is a more physical forward and laid down a marker by winning his first 2 duels with the 19-year-old before beating him again to score. Ellis Sims will be a similar challenge, should Kambwala play after an availability scare. Sims, a one-time United trialist, has plundered 5 goals in the previous rounds and been around the block, popping up in the Premier League, the Championship, League One and the Scottish Premiership. Expect Coventry to have saved themselves. Cardiff City were the last FA Cup finalists from outside the top flight 16 years ago. Millwall, Sheffield United, twice, and Reading have reached the semi-finals since but failed to book a return to the National Stadium. Coventry have lost 3 games and won 2 since their extraordinary recovery in the quarter-finals at Wolves. The 8th-place Championship side were thumped 3-0 by relegation-threatened Birmingham City last week, and it is natural they have one eye on their first FA Cup match at Wembley since their victorious final in 1987. United's form and performances will have also offered them encouragement. Casemiro's second last dance? Casemiro is on his last legs and is approaching possibly his last dance in elite football. He has been starting by default in recent weeks, and that is bound to continue in a Wembley semi-final. This is not the time of the season for experiments, and Casemiro is the most suitable supplement for Kobbie Mainoo in midfield, unless he has to be drafted into the centre of defence. It would then be logical to take him out of the team against Burnley in 3 days. 3 ways Manchester United could line up vs Coventry City in FA Cup semi-final fixture. Man United play Coventry in the semi-finals of the FA Cup today, and here's how our writers think they should start. Manchester United can progress to the final of the FA Cup with a win against Coventry City this weekend. United take on Championship side Coventry at Wembley on Sunday afternoon and must deliver an improved performance on their showing against Bournemouth last weekend. Although the points were shared against Bournemouth in a 2-2 draw, Andoni Iraola's side took the lead twice on the south coast and created more chances to score. United fell short in the final of the FA Cup against Manchester City last season, and this season's competition is an opportunity to right the wrongs of the defeat in the derby. Regarding the team news, Scott McTominay and Antony are set to be available again, and Harry Maguire should feature, despite picking up a small injury against Bournemouth. However, yesterday, Willy Kambwala, Sofyan Amrabat and Mason Mount were absent when United boarded their train to London at Stockport Station, and rookie defender Louis Jackson was added to the squad. Samuel Luckhurst. The prospect of United playing the same side for the 3rd match running when they were as bad as they were against Liverpool and Bournemouth would be intolerable. Ten Hag seemed to have little choice but to continue with the same back four and Casemiro in midfield until the latest injury scare, but the same attack is inadvisable. Chelsea was not the turning point for Antony. He was not fit enough to start 3 days later against Liverpool and was absent at Bournemouth. But he has a modicum of momentum and is talking a good game, so it is time to play another good game. Ten Hag has drawn a line under the Alejandro Garnacho situation and clarified all parties have moved on. Enough time has passed for him to start. Stephen Railston. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and although starting Casemiro in midfield would not quite be considered insanity, it would be questionable because he's been a passenger in the centre of the pitch for most of the season. I've not included Casemiro in my midfield over the last few weeks due to his awful performances, but if he must play, then I'd take the option of playing him at centre-back. Willy Kambwala did brilliantly against Liverpool but was tested against Bournemouth, and perhaps starting Casemiro alongside Harry Maguire would be a better option regardless of Kambwala's availability. That means Mason Mount, if fit, could start his first game since his return from injury, and now the dust has settled on his social media activity, I'd also start Garnacho. George Smith. Following the standard of the performance United served up at Bournemouth, most supporters would probably love Ten Hag to ring the changes this weekend. However, he simply hasn't got the depth available to do so, meaning changes could be minimal. The back four should, as a result of the ongoing injury crisis in the defensive department, remain unchanged, with Kambwala, if available, partnering Maguire at centre-back. The latter is expected to be fit after